From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Tyler Pelly. Thanks for joining us. Our Cronkite News reporters work in teams to cover specific issues important to all Arizonans. Those beats range from borderlands to business, from education to government and justice. Tonight, we highlight stories from the Money team on everything from wage gaps to grants that help homeless students. If you own a home, chances are you're paying a mortgage. But when one Valley veteran called his mortgage company to resolve an issue, it took months, even with help from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Cronkite News reporter Tyler Fingert is live in the broadcast center. Tyler, is this common or is he alone?
No, thousands of veterans have dealt with similar issues. That's according to this new report out this week from the Arizona Public Interest Research Group and the Frontier Group that looked at 44,000 service member and veteran complaints and found a quarter involved mortgages. Serving in the Army, Randall Stankiewicz experienced a lot.
I had 197 holes shot in my helicopter, and I crashed twice.
But trying to fix a problem with his home's mortgage proved to be a tough fight.
I felt victimized after 4 months of trying to get him to do something.
He found out he was paying $78 for mortgage insurance he didn't really need, but getting them to do something about it proved difficult. So he turned to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, a government agency that helps protect consumers with financial complaints.
I knew they were taking advantage of me. I just didn't know who to contact until I got on the internet.
And Stankiewicz isn't alone. The new report, which looked at 44,000 complaints made to the CFPB from service members and veterans over a 5-year period, showed nearly a third of complaints were about debt collection, followed by mortgages accounting for a quarter of the complaints.
We all have a lot of respect for members of the military. They're there to protect us, and I think it's particularly harmful when we're seeing members of the military being targeted.
But Stankiewicz says he's happy to be done.
That's $78 a month that wasn't going in my pocket, and it surely shouldn't have gone in theirs. They should have taken care of it within 30 days of being notified.
The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is facing a setback. A House bill that scales back powers of the government agency passed the House late this afternoon. Now it just needs Senate approval before heading to the president's desk. In the broadcast center, Tyler Fingert, Cronkite News.
We begin tonight with a new report that says Arizona is ranked 18th in the U.S. for energy efficiency policy and programs. But in Tucson, massive cuts to some of these programs have left local businesses in limbo. I met with a Tucson architect who is making a call to action. Hank Kryzik is a Tucson resident and a parishioner at our Mother of Sorrows Church.
It's not only a place that I volunteer at, but it's a place where I worship and have community with.
So it's no surprise that Kryzik, a loyal member of the congregation for the last 30 years, is part of the team trying to make the church more energy efficient. But just days ago, he and other Tucson businesses received notice that Tucson Electric Power was no longer accepting applications for its energy efficiency incentive programs.
Now that these programs are potentially being cut, it's disappointing.
The cuts, which total about $6 million, come in the heart of the summer, when efficient energy usage is at the top of the priority list for local businesses that look to keep the costs down. But Tucson Electric Power says it simply doesn't have the funds to accept more applications for these programs.
There's a limited budget that's paid for essentially through a surcharge that all of our customers pay. And the total funding available this year is less than it was last year.
But Kryzik and other ratepayers think energy efficiency efforts deserve more attention and more funding. Our Mother of Sorrows was one of more than 36 local organizations that signed a letter sent to the Arizona Corporation Commission, asking the agency to revisit the rollback of funding.
Knowing that the utility company had these programs available and that each one of us that sit in the pews are ratepayers, that we're investing into that, and that programs are being taken away is a little disappointing.
But Barrios says this isn't permanent. TEP will file a new plan with the Corporation Commission after January 1st.
I guess we would offer some reassurance that energy efficiency is not something that we're turning away from.
Kryzik's church had an expensive lighting project planned prior to the cuts, but he says they're still moving forward with it.
Our return on investment may not be as soon, but we're going to continue to try to reduce our consumption.
In 2016, for every dollar invested in energy efficiency, the return was $2.70. The field has also created over 39,000 jobs across the state.
A settlement today in a class action lawsuit involving former Arizona prisoners and Bank of America. Inmates can earn minimum wages, but they do not have access to their income until they are released. And when that happens, they have to use a bank account set up by the state, in this case with Bank of America, who has now agreed to return what a class action lawsuit refers to as excessive fees. At least 70,000 former Arizona inmates are expected to receive more than $168,000 on return fees, according to the plaintiff's attorney. The money is connected to Bank of America prepaid cards issued to former inmates to retrieve any income earned while imprisoned.
The Bank of America will no longer charge excessive fees to inmates released from Arizona Department of Corrections.
The settlement calls for the reimbursement of all debit card fees to the former prisoners who were issued Bank of America cash-paid debit cards. The cards carry fees not charged to regular consumers, including a $15 per transaction fee at a bank teller window. 3 former inmates started the lawsuit.
Praise the Lord that there was justice, and today is a very proud day that we were able to, as inmates, through other sources that believed in us, to get this far.
Justice has been served, because it's very unfortunate for corporations who have so much money to be taking money from people who are walking out with next to nothing.
It's not about the money. It was about the principle of what was happening.
And a website has been set up to reach out to those involved. Bank of America has agreed to no longer collect any fees at all. And the Associated Press reports Bank of America spokesman Will Wilson called the terms a standard for the prepaid cards and said the settlement was in everyone's best interest.
Today is Equal Pay Day in the United States. It's recognized on April 4th because this is how far into the year a woman would have to work to earn what men did last year alone. Amanda Luberto is in the Broadcast Center to share what Arizona is doing to support local women.
Most people know that even in 2017, women are being paid roughly 80 cents to the male dollar, but women of color are earning even less. Latinas here in Arizona are only earning about 55 cents to the dollar. That was discussed at today's proclamation of Phoenix's involvement in Equal Pay Day. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, Arizona women are paid 83 cents to the dollar, 3 cents above the national average. But this gap represents a loss of approximately over $7,000 per year. While most of this is systemic, Elizabeth Leon of Fuerza Local says culture plays a role as well.
You grow up with your family, your friends letting you know that, you know what, a job is enough. You don't have to ask for a raise because, you know, getting paid $35,000 a year is enough, when in reality it's not.
Fuerza Local helps Latina entrepreneurs start their business so they can be more independent. Phoenix Councilwoman Kate Gallego led the way to pass the city's Equal Pay Ordinance in 2015, tightening enforcement and increasing public education and awareness. She says that there are still major efforts to be done.
And we have really tried to make sure that all communities are included in our ordinance. So we're trying to work with groups throughout our school system and others to make sure that as early as high school women start getting that education.
When the math adds up, according to nationalpartnership.org, Arizona women on average who are full-time employees lose a combined total of nearly $13 billion each year because of the wage gap. In the Broadcast Center, Amanda Luberto, Cronkite News.
2 Valley homeowners hung flags in their windows to celebrate diversity. Then their homeowners association told them to take them down. Cronkite News reporter Mia Maslar went to Cave Creek to find out why the flags are causing such a stir.
These are flag drapes on the inside of my garage windows. and I'm not going to remove them.
An HOA is telling Two Valley homeowners they're violating the rules by hanging a rainbow flag in public view. The flag celebrates the gay and transgender communities.
When I look at the American flag, I think of the Pledge of Allegiance with liberty and justice for all. And when I look at the diversity flag, which is about everyone's being welcome, I think of the same thing.
Ken Haycraft hung his American and diversity flags in January. 5 weeks later, he received a letter from the HOA telling him to remove an unsightly item, referring to a multicolor flag. Days later, he received a $25 fine. The HOA sent Bonnie Daly a similar letter after she hung both flags in her garage windows to support her neighbor.
Both flags are multicolored. Which one are they referring to?
The Dove Valley Ranch Community Association did not respond to a request asking for comment, but the letter says the flag removal is part of HOA's requirement to keep the community beautiful. Attorney Augustus Shaw has worked with HOAs for 15 years, but does not represent the Dove Valley Ranch Association. Shaw says any HOA has a legal right to require homeowners to follow HOA rules. The American and Arizona flags are among those protected by law, but certain other flags are not.
Situation, the rainbow flag is not protected by the relevant statute, so the association could restrict the flying of that flag.
Haycraft says he's confused because homeowners don't need approval for decorations inside the home. The neighbors say before this, they have never had any disputes with their HOA. In Cave Creek, Mia Maslar, Cronkite News.
Both homeowners have appealed the demand to remove the flags to the Homeowners Association. Their appeals will be heard by the Board of Directors on April 20th.
United Airlines is under fire tonight after a video of a passenger being dragged off one of its planes last night went viral. But a report out of an Arizona university today claims airline passengers may actually have experienced the best service in the 27 years a study has been done. Cronkite News reporter Tyler Fingert is live in our Washington bureau with more on what researchers at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University discovered. Tyler?
This report today from Embry-Riddle University in Prescott and Wichita State University says airlines have improved across the board in key measures of passenger treatment. But you wouldn't know it from looking at video last night in Chicago on United Airlines flight 3411. Tonight, this video is going viral. Fellow passengers were filming as a man was forcibly pulled off of a United Airlines flight in Chicago.
My God!
The flight was overbooked, but when no one volunteered to give up their seat, that's when things got ugly and one passenger was dragged off. While scenes like that may give flyers pause, a new report says the airline industry is actually doing better, with fewer delayed flights and complaints.
It's going in the right direction, but they're still complaining about the same things.
The airline quality rating out today gives airlines the best scores in the 27 years that the study has been done.
The airlines as a whole have done better in the 4 major categories. And because they're doing slightly better, it's taken the score up to its highest position over time.
The rating for each airline takes into account mishandled bags, denied boardings, customer complaints, and on-time arrivals, all an improvement since last year.
It's good news for travelers because you have the potential to have a more satisfying flight. You know, being there on time, getting there with your bag, is more likely.
Topping this year's report, Alaska Airlines, followed by Delta Airlines and Virgin America. Near the bottom of the 10 carriers ranked, United. The big picture, flights are getting better, but it only takes one bad flight.
It's generally better, but better is a perception, and the most recent flight experience that a consumer has is their perception.
Many passengers on that United Airlines flight will have quite the story to tell. The airline says they are investigating, and late today, United Airlines' CEO called the entire event upsetting. Live tonight in Washington, Tyler Fingert, Cronkite News.
And Made in America Week continues in Washington, D.C., a week that kicked off with displays of American-made products at the White House. Cronkite News reporter Emma Lockhart spoke with the Arizona company that represented the state from our Washington bureau.
The Trump White House is making a habit out of trying to get its message across by by having theme weeks that are built around a specific topic. There was Infrastructure Week, Workforce Development Week, now it's Made in America Week, to focus on, well, goods made in America.
From tractors displayed on the front lawn to cowboy hats that President Donald Trump tried on himself, American-made products from each state were at the White House, including Ping Golf from Arizona.
We're not a huge company in Arizona, but we're proud of what we do, and to see that we're one of 50 companies that they asked to come visit it was an honor to be there.
Ping's golf clubs are assembled in Phoenix, some with American parts, others of international parts. They say the putter they showcased at the event, however, is 100% USA made.
We think it gives us a competitive advantage by being able to put stuff together, custom built in Phoenix, and get it to our customer faster.
Trump viewed the products himself.
As I walked through the halls, we saw so many great companies.
And signed a Made in America proclamation, all to help promote goods made in the U.S. Solheim says political views aside, he was happy to be in the president's company.
To be in the White House and to say hi and say thank you for what you're doing and your service is an honor. And it's an honor for me as an American to be able to have that opportunity.
Solheim told me he's not exactly sure how Ping got chosen for the White House event, but he was thrilled to get the call last week nonetheless. Live in Washington, Emma Lockhart, Cronkite News. Revenue has been dropping for 3 years at 6 Phoenix-owned golf courses. Reporter Allison Gargaro visited the city's Maryvale course to see what the city is doing to chip away at the financial deficit.
People began teeing off at the Maryvale Golf Course in Phoenix back in the 1960s. The goal was to provide residents with more affordable rounds of golf than at resorts and private clubs. Many people first picked up a club in this West Phoenix neighborhood, including Councilman Daniel Valenzuela.
I would have never had an opportunity to learn to golf had it not been for a city course.
Phoenix owns 6 golf courses open to the public. 4 are in the red. Those losses reached thousands of dollars in 2015, according to the city.
The overall number of what's being subsidized today is about $133,000 for all 6 courses. And now some are making money, some are not making money.
But 2 other Phoenix courses brought in more than $400,000 in 2015. The city partnered with 2 colleges, Grand Canyon University and Arizona State University, to reverse some of the losses. ASU now operates the Papago course, and GCU invested $12 million into renovations of the Maryvale Golf Course and Clubhouse. Grand Canyon staffs the course with GCU students.
We have about 40 students who work between the golf shop and the restaurant and actually the maintenance. So we have students are involved in all aspects of the golf course, along with what many of our golf management students are also involved and work in the day-to-day operations.
Work here at the golf course and I love it. I basically live here.
The university investment is more than a financial turnaround. Renovations are driving more golfers to the courses.
You never know, the next Tiger Woods may come out of Maryvale because they had an opportunity to pay a few bucks and walk the course and learn.
In Phoenix, Allison Gargaro, Cronkite News.
Basketball wasn't the only Final Four this weekend. Reporter Kaylee Nassif went to a startup competition where entrepreneurs were the star athletes.
Arizona State University and electronic company Avnet sponsor the Final Four of the Innovation Open, a new ASU program looking to help develop student-led startups on the West Coast.
Why don't we have a regional hub of entrepreneurship supporting students, much the way that we might see with an MIT Enterprise Open? And so we thought of the Innovation Open as a way to support region-wide student entrepreneurs.
Students from ASU, University of Arizona, and California Lutheran University pitched their ideas to a panel of judges. Pitch days lined up with the Phoenix Open and the Final Four, so ASU decided they wanted to celebrate these entrepreneurs the same way sports fans celebrate athletes.
Entrepreneurship is the kind of thing that you need a chance to exercise. You need to really get in there and see what it feels like to body block and to work in teams.
The ASU Innovation Open works a lot like March Madness. They start with a pool of applicants, then narrow it down to 36, and through pitches and demonstrations, they're able to get it to a Final Four. Except the winner here doesn't go home with a trophy, they go home with $100,000.
Usually what I do is I kind of sit outside and stretch a little bit before I get started, just because I need to take some deep breaths and before I present. And was still kind of a little wired when I got up there. It didn't quite feel real.
Somatic Labs, a team of ASU and U of A students, won for their wearable device Moment. The device uses vibrations to alert blind and visually impaired people of incoming phone calls and GPS directions. They already have 230 pre-orders, make regular changes to the device based off what those customers want in a product.
It's always a matter of designing something, giving it to someone, and then figuring out all the ways that they don't like it and seeing how we can address those problems.
With the prize money, Somatic Labs plans to hire more team members and get a patent in place. They plan to start shipping the device to customers in June. In Phoenix, Kaylee Nassif, Cronkite News.
The Moment device costs $199 and can be ordered online.
ASU FilmSpark, known as Arizona State's embassy to the entertainment industry, hosts its first event for the All for One initiative. Cronkite News LA reporter Madeline Witt tells us how the program intends to address gender inequality in the field.
Gender inequality in Hollywood was put under the microscope when Arizona State FilmSpark students hosted their event, 12 Angry Men Revisited. A panel discussion and breakout sessions were held in Santa Monica with the goal of reimagining 12 Angry Men, a critically acclaimed movie when it was released in 1957, starring Academy Award winner Henry Fonda. In the motion picture, the all-white, all-male jury was adjudicating a murder trial.
We're not convinced.
Rethink your character, now knowing the sex that character has been assigned.
In the reimagining, Sun Devil students and industry veterans, including producers and directors from shows such as Scandal and Pretty Little Liars, took on the role of the 12 jurors, writing a different backstory, reflecting a more diverse panel.
Made me think quite a bit about our innate prejudices and our feelings about men and women and what we're capable of, and I'm really glad I got to think about it tonight. And the students thought about it in very deep ways, and it was very impressive.
Program Director Adam Collis hopes that events like these will help to bridge the gender inequality gap behind and in front of the camera.
What we wanted to do was to innovate and experiment and have sort of almost a brainstorming exercise that would really be lively and engaging, interactive and dynamic, and at the same time giving our students the chance to collaborate with these incredible professionals.
Go to school and where? ASU FilmSpark will host more events at Arizona State's Tempe campus this fall. In Santa Monica, Madeline Witt for Cronkite News.
According to the Directors Guild of America, only 17% of television shows were directed by women in 2016.
So imagine trying to get good grades, make friends, and even get into college when you don't even have a place to call your own. That's the reality for the nearly 30,000 homeless students in our state, according to the Arizona Department of Education. But as I found out today, there's one group of people who are homeless by definition, but are pushing forward in times of despair. They hide in plain sight, carrying on with their daily lives just like you and me. But make no mistake about it, their lives are far from ordinary.
It's awful. It brings so many awful things to an individual's mind, and it affects them way more ways than just a physical state.
That's where Homeless Youth Connection steps in. It's a nonprofit Valley organization that looks to take a proactive approach in preventing teen homelessness. But it even goes a step further.
We ensure that they have the resources they need to complete their education and graduate.
And in order to do so, HYC partners with local and national businesses like Allstate. The insurance provider donated $25,000 to the nonprofit, a sum that doesn't go unnoticed.
It's going to provide emergency housing for 25 kids.
If we take care of a youth at a young age, and then when they grow up, they'll be great adults, contributing members to our society.
And for Witt, that helping hand, which wasn't always around, means the world.
To think like how much it helped me in the past, I'm ecstatic to how much it can help other people now.
Bogart says there are about 6,000 homeless teens from grades 9 through 12 in Maricopa County alone.
These kids are invisible. They really do not want to be in the system. They would much rather prefer to hide on somebody's sofa or in the park.
But Witt refuses to hide anywhere. Invisibility just isn't part of his plans.
I should be getting my EMT by this December, and later doing some fire science courses, stuff like that, trying to get into paramedic and then eventually firefighting field.
Witt is enrolled in community college classes this fall, and Bogart says HYC hopes to expand to a national nonprofit in the next 2 years. If you want to help, visit hycaz.org.
In recent years, the movie business has been under assault by various new entertainment technologies and options. Cronkite News reporter Chantel Delagula talked with one company in Los Angeles who has come up with an idea that appeals to young families.
We've all gone to the movies dozens, if not hundreds of times, but you probably haven't gone to a theater with a 55-foot long and 25-foot high play structure. Sinopolis Junior is the nation's first dedicated children's movie theater, designed for kids ages 3 to 12 years old.
We show PJ movies. We have a gym inside. We have a playground.
The playground provides a place to hang out, whether it be 20 minutes before the movie starts and even during
intermission. There wasn't really any breaks throughout any theaters that I've been. That's what I like about it.
Children must be accompanied at all times by an adult, but parents enjoy knowing there's extra help in case the kids get out of hand.
We have a cast member at all times in there as well, so make sure everybody's following the rules, following the procedures, and we also make sure that the adults are taken care of.
I'm pretty sure they'll load the games and the movie theater. Plus, my wife, there's a lot of shopping around.
The theater offers bright and colorful play areas, as well as alternative seating like lounge chairs and big comfy bean bags.
I really like with all the seats that they had it really different, like the beach seats and like the big chairs.
And the price for a ticket can be surprising to most guests.
Only $1 more.
Lopez says it's clear the theater has become a success because he's received positive feedback in the weeks it's been open.
They're pretty amazed. We see families come back every week.
In Pico Rivera, Chantel Delagula, Cronkite News.
Sinopolis Junior has only 2 locations in the U.S., one in San Diego and the other in Pico Rivera. The company plans on opening additional theaters in the next few years.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.